Evening, brothers. How's everyone tonight? Just move this camera a tiny bit. What is happening? What is happening? I hope you're all good. Jimmy, Jason, Wildling, Steven. What are we painting tonight? I'm going to be painting Death Company. The ongoing saga of, like, adding 10 more Death Company to my army. It's taken me forever. But it is what it is, I guess. What are you guys painting tonight? Let me know in the chat. Start with a little bit of Bushati Bone, probably follow up with some Dawnstone. I did order those new heads today. Did any of you guys see my video from earlier? Did anyone order the new heads? I thought they looked cool. Some people really flamed them. Good afternoon from Florida. Hello, Florida. What part of Florida are you in? One of Mephistone's little syringes broke and you're sad. Man, I hate it when those little blood drops or little syringe things break off. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, man, honestly. The best thing I think you can do is just sort of like try and pretend it was never there. Work around it. But I know your pain. I know your pain. Jimmy is butchering silver pads for the Death Watch. Why are you butchering them? I never really know how to paint those silver pads. I have a few of them now. It's only something I've started doing recently is adding some like Death Watch models to my Blood Angels. So I haven't really figured out how I paint the silver pads yet, Jimmy. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. We'll be live for maybe like somewhere between like 90 minutes and 2 hours. Just painting a bit of BA. If there's any questions, just fire them into the chat. I'll do my best to answer everything. If I miss something during the stream, then please just ask it again. It's unlikely that I ignore you, it's more likely that I miss it. Actually a lovely day here in Scotland today. It was like the sun was out. It really felt like it didn't feel like normally by this time of year it feels like winter. So I don't know if it's global warming or what, but honestly it was such a nice day here in Scotland today. It was abnormal. It was so nice. So I was out with the family. It was pretty nice. This is the problem when you stick on swords across bodies. You have to work around it and then you end up with paint on the underside of the sword like I just did there. I guess if I'd magnetized some of these Death Company I could have just pulled arms off, but I didn't do that this time round. This is why magnets are your best friend, not just for weapon loadouts but for painting too, right? Good evening, Nick. Good evening, Two Scoops. It's finally cooled off here in California. How hot has it been in California, Wildling? I think I might be going to California in March for a conference for like my day job. Not 100% sure yet, but it might be. I've just been once before. Jason says not painting tonight, shopping for more models in the pile of shame. Well, if you're shopping, man, what do you think of those new heads? I thought people would be excited about those new Blood Angels heads. I made a video about it and everything. I was thinking people are going to be so excited about these new beak heads, and then all the comments were like, meh, they suck. I don't think anyone said like, oh, like the second I actually thought there was going to be such high demand for those new heads that I finished placing my order for the heads before I posted to my YouTube channel, because I've made the mistake before of like posting on YouTube being like, you know, Volkite Contemptors are back in stock in Forge World, and that's like happened to me before on like a stream, and I've posted that they're back on stock, and then by the time I actually get round to buy them, they're out of stock. So I thought like I really like these new heads. You know, you guys know that I love beak heads, so I thought to myself like, right, I have to buy some before I post the video, because if I post the video and they go out of stock, it'll be my own stupid fault. So I made sure to buy the new beak heads, and then I posted about it, and I thought people would be excited, but it turns out not as many people were excited about the beak heads as I was. Did anyone buy them? It was 90 degrees a few days ago. Bloody hell, you get weather that hot in October? That's crazy, man. We don't even get that hot in like July or August. We maybe hit like 85 Fahrenheit. Like, and we'll get that for like one day. They're kind of cool, Blood Angels heads, but they're but for me, Mark III are the peak of Blood Angels. I just like them because they're different, man. I mean, anytime they do different heads, they're like quite unique. I'm gonna end up buying them because I like my troops to be unique, and if not many other people have those types of heads, then I mean, as much as I thought everyone was going to run out and buy them, I'm actually more probably happy if nobody else has the heads, because then my army will be even more unique. But I thought people would be excited for those new heads. I think they're just different, and like I said, I usually use wreaths on, like, where's the guy with the wreath? You know these guys that have like these wreath things on their head? Are they called wreaths? I think they're called wreaths. I typically use those to like depict sergeants and stuff. So like a lot of my models, if they have wreaths, they'll be like the sergeant. So having something completely different, like those trims, to depict some of the sergeants, I thought that would be very cool. But well, I mean, if no one else bought them, I bought them. They're kind of expensive though, to be honest. It was like £18, which is a lot for 10 heads, I guess. Like it's not like it's eBay or resell or anything like that, right? Hello Jim, good evening. Jim thinks they look beautiful, but honestly prefers other Forge World heads. Well, I mean, if you prefer the other ones, I haven't seen any other Forge World heads that I was super in love with, I guess, so these ones seemed like a good shout for me, I guess. Good evening, Robert. Good evening, Brick. Wildling is actually buying some of those heads now. Alright, well, I managed to convert somebody into buying them, or persuade someone to buy them. I think they're very cool. I honestly think they're very cool. I'm glad someone else thinks they're cool. Dave is tuning in all the way from Las Vegas. Good evening, Dave. How you doing? Must be early in the day in Las Vegas. Must be like 1 p.m? 1:30, something like that. Dave's just getting started, Dave. What's your plans? If you live in Las Vegas, do you actually go to casinos, or you just avoid them? It's like, you know, it's dead to you because it's something you can do every day, so it's not a novelty. The best Blood Angels heads from Forge World are Teardrop Blood Angels. Do you know what? I'm not a huge fan of those teardrop ones. I know the ones you're talking about. I mean, I think they're okay, but I never felt the need to run out and get any. I guess some people love them. Sean says, I personally don't like Mark 6 helmets, but for beak helmets they do look cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about the mark of the helmets, to be honest, Sean. I just think that they're unique beak helmets with like an extra trim, and maybe I can use them to add a bit of character or flavour to some of my guys that maybe didn't have it before. Good evening, Mike. Dave avoids the casinos at all costs. Fair enough, Dave, makes sense. Guess if you live with it, you maybe get shoved down your throat a bit, does it? So Wildling ordered some of the beak heads, so 2 people have bought them. Me and Wildling, we're going to be Beaky Terminators next meta. Do you know what? I should make a Beaky Terminator and use it in a thumbnail, people, because people got so upset with, you know, the Terminator I made that got the Primaris helmet on it? That was one of the best streams I ever did when I was finishing it, because everybody was donating to get me to cut the helmet off, to cut his head off. I was like, I'm not going to cut his head off. Do you know how slow I am at painting? I'm not cutting any of my models' heads off, and people are going crazy trying to get me to cut my head off my Terminator that had a Primaris hat on. Or a Primaris helmet, rather. So yeah, I need to actually make more Terminators with random heads. I'm gonna have to go AFK just a second here. I think my daughter is awake and she's not settling by herself. I'll give her a minute, see if she does settle, but if not, I'm gonna have to run AFK. Alright, she's getting up. Alright, I'll be right back. Tony will indeed lose his shit, Jim, sorry. Hello, Blood Angels, Captain. I'm actually Commander, but I'll let you off since you said you were pretty polite. You know, I mean, it's Commander. We don't often respond to people that lower our rank here. Alright, hello, Blood Angels, Commander. Good to be able to hang out and paint before I head to a local tournament here in Australia. Oh wow, okay. I have no idea what the time difference is in Australia, actually, but I imagine it's kind of mental. I thought you were miles and miles of hours ahead of us. So if it's like 9 PM here, it's probably 9 AM. 9 AM in Australia, maybe. Good luck with your tournament. Hello, Highland Phoenix, good evening. .30 AM, wow. Good morning then. The Primaris head is essentially the same as the Tartos Terminator, so who cares? Some people care, I guess. Some people care passionately that Terminators shouldn't have Primaris heads. There was a rumor, like, not even that long ago, that we were going to get Primaris Terminators. I mean, there's been so many rumors about Marines over the last, like, 6 months, like the new Codex, the Melee Redemptor, the Blood Angel starter set. I could go on and on and on. It just seems like there's so many rumors about Marines, but we're not really seeing anything come to fruition, right? Not yet, anyway. Is WYSIWYG required in a tournament? Usually, Nick. Sometimes you can ask the TO, like, hey, I'm going to run this. It's slightly different models. But yeah, for the most part, WYSIWYG is required, yes. If anyone's not familiar with WYSIWYG, it just means what you see is what you get. So if a model has a las gun, then it probably needs to be modelled with a las gun, is basically what it means. So if you've got a dreadnought with specific armaments, you know, like, the opponent basically needs to be able to look at your army and know what he's fighting against, right? The Terminator head and their profile is too iconic to lose. Is it? I mean, I think a Primaris Terminator will... Surely we'll see that in the future, right? Rizio's finalising a list to play in a couple hours. Fury of the Lost. I mean, I don't know, Riz. I haven't played Fury of the Lost yet. I've been thinking about it, but I think it's just too close to this tournament for me to give it a proper try. Plus, I don't think I have enough Death Company with hammers. I think you need probably like 10 hammers if you're going to do Fury of the Lost, and I only got 4 guys with hammers, so... One of my next purchases, or one of the next things on my shopping list, I think, for the future, will need to be like another 5-man squad of Death Company, all with hammers. You have 8 hammers? Yeah, okay, 8 would probably be the minimum, right? Because 8 gives you 2 squads of guys. 4 and a 4. I get on board with that, sure. But I only have 4 hammers. I used to run Death Company a lot with, not with Thunder Hammers, basically, like... So it's only really in the last year that I started running Thunderhammer Death Company. If I ran them before that, it was always chainswords, so I just have all my... Like, I have a lot of models with, like, other weapons, and I used to run them in older editions, so I have Death Company models with weapons that, like, you never see in competitive play, like, now, like, hand flamers and shit like that. So, yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw a hand flamer on the board in 40k, honestly. Has anyone played a game against a hand flamer recently? I feel like it's unlikely. Wildling says he's new and he guess he messed up and built some with hand flamers. Yeah, I mean, I built a lot with hand flamers, Wildling. I think I've got at least 5 Death Company models with like various loadouts and hand flamers. So like power swords and power axes and probably numerous other things and hand flamers and like... I mean, maybe there's a way that you can make hand flamers good right now, like, but if there is, I don't know what it is. Lamartus does let Death Company reroll charges, says Mike. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, that's probably the best reason to include Lamartus, right? I mean, if you were going to deep strike some Death Company with Lamartus, that gives them a level of added reliability to them. Chris is looking to list more forward to the list review show tomorrow. Oh, you got your list up for tomorrow, do you, Chris, or are you just looking forward to the show in general? What does everyone do for the shoulder pad trim colours on Primaris? What do you mean shoulder pad trim colours? You just mean like when you've got a shoulder pad here and you just give it a different trim colour for because they're Primaris models, or what? So many people watching right now that need to hit the like button. Yeah, go ahead and hit that like button. Get us up. There's 32 people in the chat watching. Let's get 32 likes. I'd appreciate it. I'm just gonna bounce around colours tonight and just get base colours on these guys. I've been bouncing around on these, like, I have 8 Death Company on my painting table right now, but I honestly know that I've got like another 3 that are half done. So realistically, I'm essentially doing a batch paint of 11 Death Company at the moment, and none of them are. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them ready to edge highlighted, but a lot of them still need a lot of base colors. So for the moment, I guess I'm just base coloring. I didn't get to see the optician this week because they made a cancellation, which was really annoying, but I have an appointment with the optician on Wednesday morning, and I'm convinced I'm going to get new glasses, like, because I'm not seeing as well as I feel like I should, and I've been getting headaches from my left eye. If I cover my right eye, I can't read shit. Like, I think my prescription is just out of date now, so I'm looking forward to hopefully getting an optician appointment on Wednesday and getting some new glasses, and then I'll be able to. Then I'll feel more confident about edge highlighting, because if you can't see very well, or if you're getting headache from trying to focus in, that's why I'm avoiding doing the edge highlighting at the moment, really. So, but yeah, I mean, I got tons of base colors to get onto these models anyway, so it's not holding me up and waiting on my glasses. Good evening, 40k tuber. Got the same model with the metal power sword. I got a few old Death Company models with metal power swords, that is for sure. These guys are probably 30 years old at this point. If not 30, then 25, I'd guess. They are old ass models. Does the weapon in hand have to be considered being used by the mini? I think that's the same question that we had a little bit a while ago about WYSIWYG. Yeah, I mean, if you're running models to a friendly game, the weapons in their hands are probably not that important. If you're running them to a tournament, then it is important. Like, your opponent needs to know what he's facing up against, right? So, for a tournament, you typically need to have the right weapons in their hands, right? So people are underestimating you if you take speeders, is that what you're saying? Is that the takeaway? People don't think Blood Angels lists with speeders are good, but they are actually really good. I was running a list with 1 land speeder for a little while. I did consider running 2, but I never actually tried it. I think when I was running the land speeder, I was more in the mood of taking like engage on all fronts. And I mean, I pretty much just don't take engage on all fronts anymore, I guess. Can anyone put a list in for the army list show? Asked Peter. Yeah, Peter, absolutely. It usually takes me about a week or 2 to get you on the show, right? Because there's a bit of a queue. But yeah, all you have to do is Basically, in any of my YouTube videos, any video at all, put a new comment. Don't reply to another person's comment. Just put a new comment with your army list and ask and just say I'd like this to be reviewed on the show. And that way I'll get notification that there's a new comment, like not a reply to an existing comment, and I can find it and I can add you to the list. And I think if you put in a list today, you would probably be reviewed like probably by like the middle of November. There's a couple. I think there's about 10 lists that I'm waiting to review at the moment. I usually do about 6 a week. Relentless Assault is guaranteed. The fire support is more than they initially think. If they spend the first 2 turns shooting the speeders, they have an issue of unchecked Sanguinary Guard. I suppose it depends on what you're playing against, right? What sort of speeders are you running? Just multi-meltas and 70-point attack speeders, or are you doing something else with them? Rob says, love your work. Greetings from Australia. Greetings back at you, Rob. How you doing? Good morning in Australia. I'm surprised you guys are up so early. It's like Sunday morning, right? Like, I mean, I would very reluctantly be up at 6:45 on a Sunday morning, I'll tell you that. I mean, I can get up if I'm required to, but like, I don't know if I'm getting up at 6:45 on a Sunday to watch YouTube, I'll tell you that. Morning, Rob. Have I picked up a Kratos tank yet? I mean, my problem with the Kratos tank is that you can't obscure it, right? So it's 18 wounds and it has no invulnerable save and it can't be obscured. Like, is it survivable enough? I don't know if it is. Highland Phoenix coming in with a gifted sub tonight. Highland, thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. I mean, I haven't played a Kratos tank, but I have played other tanks that have like 26 wounds and are toughness 8 and have the same save, and like, I mean, I played an Astraeus not too recently against Harlequins, and they basically killed the Astraeus in 1 turn with shooting. So like, Kratos is a reasonably large investment. I'm not going to say it's a bad investment. I'm just going to say like, some armies are going to be really efficient, or some armies are really efficient at killing armor. So if you come up against a really efficient army that's going to kill armor and you cannot be obscured because you have 18 wounds, which a Kratos does, then have you not got a little bit of a problem? There's nowhere you'd rather be on a Sunday morning at 6:45. Well, welcome, Rob. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you. Good morning. I hope you're going to get some serious coffee. I don't really wake up until I get my first cup of coffee. Sometimes my wife will say to me, like, we've had this conversation this morning and you agreed to do such and such and such and such, and I'll be like, I did? And she's like, oh, it's fucking pointless speaking to you before you've had coffee. And I was like, yeah, it is pointless, so why are you trying to get me to agree to shit? You know me. I need coffee to function. Come on. Thoughts on the meta that we'll face on the tournament for from Highland Phoenix. 21 months of membership. Highland, thank you so much for 21 months of membership. I mean, I'm going to face Necrons for sure, I think. Necrons didn't get touched in the balance slate, so there's going to be there's a really, really high level Necron player there who's going to have like double obsec on everything, you know the drill. Unyielding conquerors, super difficult to kill, super just going to flood every objective, and then he's going to score tons of points because the Necron secondaries score really, really efficiently at the moment. So there's going to be that. There's going to be that list that Gav brought with all the knights. I mean, Miles is going to be there with his Odari. Obviously, I beat Miles the last 2 times he came on the channel, but the time he came on the channel before that was when he brought the list that had like 3 fight last. And when I played that, I guess, how would you put it? It's just a triple fight last list. So he has one character that has a fight last in an aura, everything with engagement range. He has another fight last on the Howling Banshees when they charge. I think it's actually 4 fight lasts. He has a psychic power that makes you fight last, and then he also has I think he's got a relic. I think he's got a relic weapon. 40k Tuber coming in with 5 Canadian. Thank you so much for all the work you do. Dude, thank you so much for all the support. It's awesome. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for the $5 Canadian. I appreciate it as well. Yeah, so it's going to be like, if Miles brings that list that's got like the 4 fight lasts, and I think the last thing is a relic he had on one of his jet bikes. And when he played my list like that list I actually had 3 squads of Sangre Guard. And in that list, I think in turn 2, 1 squad of Sangre made a charge. They didn't get to fight because he made them fight last, and they basically got wiped. I actually don't think they got to attack. In turn 3, a squad of Sangre Guard made a charge. They didn't get a fight either because they had to fight last, and they got wiped as well. And I think my 3rd squad of Sangre Guard, for whatever reason, I think they came in from Deep Strike, they failed the charge, and then he charged me and wiped them. So I actually never got, like, in the entire game, I never got to fight with any of my Sangre Guard, and I got absolutely destroyed on points. You know, like, if your Sangre Guard never get to fight, then you're not scoring very many points, I guess. And I think that was like, Miles had like 80, and I had maybe, I don't even think I made it to 20, honestly, and that was with 10 painted points. Maybe I made it to 20, I don't remember. It was absolutely brutal. So if Eldar if he brings a list with 4 fight lasts, I mean, and the Whirlwind can't even help in some of the situations, because one of the white fight lasts is like around a character, and the character is less than 10 wounds. He's one of those Phoenix Lords that has he's a Phoenix Lord that has, like, he's got a wound cap per phase, so you can only do, I think it's 3 wounds to him per phase, but he only has like 6 wounds total. And I think he regenerates a wound each turn or something like that. But the problem is, then I can't shoot the Whirlwind at him, right? Because he can be lookout third. So I can't even use the Whirlwind to make it, to let my charging units fight first in that situation. So there's going to be some. So basically, what I'm saying is there's going to be some nasty fucking lists at the GT I'm going to. All 3 of those lists are going to be super difficult for me to beat. And I guess this is why I'm probably, well, I mean, I'm like 90% sure there's very little chance that I'll run an all melee list Highland Phoenix, just because I just don't know if I see it as a viable option. The double all flamer Ball Predator does magic. It's only 290 points. It's surely a Ball Predator with. Oh, you're talking 2 Ball Predators. Oh man, I don't know. I would love Ball Predators to be viable. I just can't see it happening anytime soon whatsoever. Which is a little bit sad, right? Games Workshop just must hate Ball Predators for some reason. I don't remember the last time that Ball Predator, like, I remember them being okay in like 3rd edition or something, but like, was that the last time they were good? Burgosaurus is a member for 2 months. May you roll hot at the tournament. I'd love to roll hot at tournament, Berg. I was saying to Gav, I don't know if I haven't had enough top table games yet I've had 2 games at the top table, and one of them my rolls were disgustingly bad. So I've had the game that's like really bad at the top table. So maybe at some point I'll be due. Need to get to the top table a few more times, and then maybe I'll be due a game at the top table where I'm due some luck and get some good rolls on the top table. I don't really want to win the tournament from luck, but yeah, Blood Angels, we're in a tough spot right now, that's for sure. I feel like I've said that so many times this edition. Like, it's a tough spot is be a Blood Angels player. Just there always seems to be something out there that counters what we do, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to have stuff out there that counters what we do, but there's just too many things that counter what we do too well. Like army-wide transhuman completely counters Red Thirst, for example. Yes, they finally removed army-wide transhuman from Leviathan Nids, which I'm really happy about. Don't get me wrong. TM Punk is in the house. After watching your videos on Assault Marines, I made some and tested a great little 5-man unit. Sergeant with Power Fist, Infernal Pistol, and a shield is awesome. Well, I'm glad that you got some value out of that video, TM Punk. I made some Assault Marines and rebased them because mine were on like the 25mm bases. But I haven't had a chance to put any arms on them or figure out a squad yet. I have like 50 in progress models. So maybe once I've done the 50, maybe it's not as many as 50, but it feels like 50. So once I finish the 50 models that I have in progress, maybe I'll get to Assault Marines. If GW just brought out the Gladiator Reaper as a Baal Blood Angels variant and gave it a looser propeller engines and assault weapons, it would have actually been cool. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that James Workshop could have done with the Primaris tanks. I think at this point we just have to admit that Primaris armor is not going to be strong in 9th edition. And because they've had loads of chances to fix it, right? You know, there's been multiple balance data slates, there's been multiple FAQs, there's been multiple chapter approved. If they wanted to fix marine armor to be decent or viable or competitive, I mean, they've had lots of chances to do it. For some reason, I guess they just don't want to fix it, or they don't know how to balance it, or I honestly don't know what the answer is. GW just hates everything non-Primaris. Well, I think that's the sentiment of some people, but I don't think that's true, because the Primaris vehicles and armor, and arguably even some of their units, are not good either, right? Like, after the Armor of Contempt change, for example, no one, and maybe I'm wrong here when I say no one, because someone will be running it. Let's say 99% of people are not running Blade Guard veterans anymore. Before the Armor of Contempt, people were running Blade Guard. So, like, are Blade Guard too expensive now because of the changes to Armor of Contempt? You know, it's like, I don't even know if they have a real plan for Primaris, because, like, I can't imagine that they you know, when they decided to give Space Marines Armor of Contempt, I can't imagine that there was a meeting where they went, well, if we do this, no one will play Blade Guard anymore, and they went, yeah, that's cool. Because, I mean, Blade Guard are like their new exciting 9th edition melee choice with the big shields, and they look cool as hell, and at one point everybody was very excited about them. So yeah, I mean, it's I don't necessarily think the sentiment of like Games Workshop hate all the Marines excluding Primaris is true, because obviously they obviously just did that update to the Assault Marines as well, where like people are saying like Assault Marines are okay now. So yeah, I disagree with that. But I don't disagree with, like, there still are a lot of problems with Marines and they don't seem to be trying hard enough to fix them. That would be a better analogy for me. Thoughts on Devastators with Grav Cannons and a Sharab? I mean, if you put them in a drop pod or if you put them in a Terrax pylon, they're decent. I mean, but they're not that good at anti-armor, right? Because, like, Grav Cannons are strength 5, I think? You need to tell me what the strength of Grav Cannon is. I feel like it's strength 5. I'm playing Leagues of Votann this week, Cal. I don't know what I expect. Wildling worked for Blizzard on Wrath of the Lich King. Well, that must have been a cool job. That was like one of the biggest PC games of all time, right? I think most people that played video games have played Wrath of the Lich King. But yeah, I know I get balancing is difficult, don't get me wrong. But I think that something could definitely be done for armor. Something needs to be done for armor. If we're ever going to see armor have a viable place and be like... It doesn't even need to be a top tier pick, does it? It just needs to be an interesting pick. If we ever want to see armor be an interesting pick again, or a viable pick, or however you want to frame that, there's a serious amount of work that needs to be done on making marine armor viable again. The speeders are okay, attack bikes are okay. The whirlwind is situational. Repulsors, like impulsors, rhinos. I mean, we just don't see any of it, right? We do see the odd drop pod. AP -4 on the Grav Cannons. Yeah, I mean the AP is good and the extra damage when you hit things with good saves is good. I just don't know if, like, one of the reasons to take Grav Devastators, I assume, would be to hit armor, right? Or to take Devastators in general would be to get long range shots and armor. If you're only going to wound on 5s, I mean, maybe there's a chaplain litany you could take to make the... I feel like there is a litany that gives you, like... it's either +1 to hit or +1 to wound, or maybe even both. I don't really take the shooting litanies, I guess. Well, Primaris will be a good option when we have Primaris Death Company and Guards, and probably something like a Redemptor. I mean, I think the goal for them surely is to make Primaris a good option, right? Like, that has to be their end goal. That's why when people ask me, you know, like, do I recommend buying Primaris tanks or Primaris models even if they're not very good right now, I always say yes, because I feel like their end goal has to be the Primaris need to be competitive, right? They wouldn't be making them to be like a crappy army. They're making them to be a competitive army. So, like, it's got to happen sooner rather than later, hopefully. So that's why I think if anyone's on the fence about, like, buying Primaris models, I think you would be safe to buy them, because, like, Games Workshop aren't in the habit of releasing a faction that's just going to be crap all the time, or, like, that's not how they work, I guess, right? Taking risky deep strike charges, not in tournament play, Highland Phoenix. Even just doing one risky charge in tournament play is risky for... when do we do Grey Knights versus Blood Angels Commander? I don't know. I've not played Grey Knights in a while, Camille. Not for a while. I don't know if there'll be any Grey Knights at the event. I think Thousand Suns are the stronger Psyker faction right now. think there probably will be a Thousand Suns player, so I'd be surprised if there wasn't. What's made Grey Knights fall off so badly, actually? Is it... I actually don't know what... I mean, Armour of Contempt, I guess, hurt their Dread Knights quite a bit. Evening, Mike. Good evening. GW is making Primaris the range refreshes they did with Black Templar. I mean, they certainly could. Good evening, DTM. Yeah, I agree. I think Thousand Suns are stronger than Grey Knights right now. I honestly don't know how I'll do in this event. And I honestly still have no idea what my list is going to be either. I mean, my list at the last event I went to included a super heavy tank because I felt like there was too many things that... There's too many threats in the meta that, like, a Blood Angels army can't beat. And then I feel like nothing really changed. Like, the balanced data slate didn't change any of that, right? So yeah, I don't know how, like, that's why I'm struggling to figure out what this list, my next list might be, because I mean, maybe I'll take shock tactics. Like, I'm not against picking shock tactics. I didn't pick it this week because obviously I knew that I was going to get obsec the hell out of me by the knights. But I did hopefully want to do at least one game where I take shock tactics just to play it before the event. Yeah, I mean, the Dread Knight weapons become much less effective into Marines as well, because I think the Dread Knight weapons were AP -2, so AP -1 if you're in cover, no AP, can potentially hurt the Dread Knight shooting quite a lot. Mike's airbrushing a Terrax tonight because Terraxes are cool, right? D6 +3 against vehicles, 5 attacks. Can get Icon of the Angel, can get Quake Bolts. I'm surprised we actually don't see that many Terraxes for BA. I think it's decent. I mean, the problem I guess is a Terrax is £105, which is kind of an obnoxious price point. Maybe things will change. I mean, the price points for models have improved a lot with these Plastic Horus Heresy re-releases, right? Or new releases. Re-releases, new releases, kind of the same thing, I guess. And some of these Death Company have got so many little intrinsic bits on them. Just adds so much time for me to get them painted nicely. And this, oh man, honestly, my left eye is giving me some jip. Just... You think that... I don't know if the Terrax is that popular. Take a 10-minute break. Do you know, my... It wouldn't really help, man. My eye's been giving me jip for like a week now. Maybe longer than a week, probably like a month. I tried to get an optician appointment a few weeks ago, but they were like busy, so... Had one last week, but they cancelled it last minute, so hopefully it's going to be this week. I need new glasses. Haley says, hey bro, love your content, fully new to models, but been into the lore anyway, building Mephiston. I'm not going to say the end of that. Have I got a pirate patch? Your body is failing, time to record the Unicron. I mean, I don't have a pirate patch, surprisingly, because I'm not a pirate, but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna order new glasses on Wednesday, and I'll be very excited. I've seen these new glasses where they have magnets built into them, so you don't need to buy a pair of sunglasses. Like, they just have like basically a set of sunglasses that just magnet onto the front of the glasses. So kind of like back in the day when you used to get clip-ons, but none of that bullshit, where it's just like the magnets are actually built into the frames, which I think is awesome. So that's what I'm going to go for, because I hate having to carry about a pair of sunglasses. So this way you'll just be able to carry about like a I actually don't know what you think you'll get, like, from that build, Highland Phoenix. Like, your double Reaper Whirlwind build. I think into some matchups, like the night list that I played this week, man, I think both those Reapers just get killed in turn 1. And then they do like 5 damage between them to a knight. Like, I feel like the Reapers have like some really bad matchups. I'm all for trying new things, Highland Phoenix. I'm all for like thinking outside the box in terms of like trying to win lists or win games. And that was Steel Rain actually said that on like yesterday's video. He said like, he basically said I was wrong with my option, like some of the options that I mentioned, and that like I should be playing more tried and tested Blood Angel stuff. But like, show me any tournament since Armor of Contempt that Blood Angels have won. And I think maybe there was one win by Sam, right? Sam Procopio, but Sam plays Blood Angels to a really, really high level, and he's been doing it for a very, very long time. So maybe Sam has had one win. I don't think any other Blood Angels player has won an event since Armor of Contempt. So like, they're all running the tried and true tested Blood Angels, and they're not winning the event. So like, I thought what Steel Rain said about me like reaching outside, or me needing to reevaluate the meta, was a bit harsh, because I was like, I'm the person that's not trying to copy everybody else. Like, I'm not running 3 Sangre Guard and 3 Death Company, or I'm not running 5 Assault Centurions. I'm trying to do my own thing to win an event, because I see the weaknesses in other people's lists, or I see the ways that those lists can get countered, and I've been there, I've done it. The event where I came 3rd, I ran basically the all melee list. I ran all melee units except a Whirlwind and a squad of Eradicators. And I couldn't win the event. I came 2nd. I say I came 2nd. I lost to the guy who was 1st on the final table. So, I mean, I came 3rd in points, but like, essentially I came 2nd, right? Because me and him were I think we were the only people undefeated when we played each other. So like I mean, I guess I could just keep trying that list and hope that I don't come up against anything that counters it. I mean, there's that. And I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe I could get lucky and I could go to an event and I could miss all the things that counter it and I could win the event. I guess that's the thing you could do. Doesn't feel like me though, I guess. Nathan got Tyrax for £72 assembled, unpainted on eBay. That's not bad. I mean, they're £100. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Original. People keep getting damn close with the Blood Angels list, but you're gonna end up playing against Harlequins, or you're gonna end up playing against Tyranids, or you're gonna end up playing against Eldar or Space Wolves on the top table. And like, if the player you're playing is competent, and arguably he is going to be competent, or they are going to be competent because they've already gone 5-0 to get to the top table, then you are not going to win the game. It's as simple as that. Like, if they play well and they're competent, you can't win. Nothing you do will win you the game. It doesn't matter how well, unless the dice gods give you, like, I don't know, you hit 25% more than the enemy and they fail their saves 25% more than you. Unless that happens, which realistically never happens on the top table, then you can't win the event. Sam does take scouts in the Landspeeder Storm. Yeah, I know Sam takes scouts in the Landspeeder Storm. He uses them for, I think, Relentless Assault, and he also uses the shock tactic stratagem on the Storm to prevent Overwatch sometimes. I don't own any Landspeeder Storms. I mean, I remember when last edition you needed to have like 6 squads of scouts, so you had like a lot of command points. And whenever that sort of went the way of the dinosaur, I've kind of like, scouts for me also went the way of the dinosaur. So I don't really haven't really run scouts. I mean, I could, but I think I'd rather figure out my own way to win. I think I can do it. I think it'll just take time. I think eventually I'll win an event. Interview Sam. I interviewed Sam a while ago. I actually made a bunch of slides to talk to him about, I think it was he did well in an event. This must have been a few months ago now. It was about the same time I did the video about Chris and his Centurions. I actually reached out to Sam and I made a bunch of slides and I made a bunch of questions, the same as I was going to do with Chris. But for whatever reason, Sam never got back to me, or we never managed to find a time that would sync up. So, I mean, I've got all the slides and I did all the prep, but it never came to anything, I guess. He's got his own YouTube channel, though, so maybe he's trying to do his own thing, which is fair enough. No, I don't think I'm misleading anyone. I think it's 100% fair to say that the all melee Blood Angels list doesn't win events, because it hasn't in like 6 months. Well, I mean, Armor of Contempt, I think at this point has maybe been out for 4 months, so like I think it's fair to say, like, you know, Blood Angels haven't won an event in 4 months with since Armor of Contempt came out, so like, I think it's fair to say, like, maybe you should consider running something else than the all melee list, because it doesn't win events. I mean, if you just want to have fun, sure. If you want to be thematic, sure. If you want to win events, you have to think of something else, right? There's so much work to do in these Death Company guys. I mean, we've got that one strategy, Red Rampage, which adds an extra point of AP on 6s when we in our Assault Doctrine, but like no one really uses it as far as I'm aware. I've never used it. I mean, maybe I should use it, but I don't think AP is necessarily the problem. Like, you run into armies like where they're all 4-up saves or something, so like our AP just becomes meaningless. Usually, if you're playing other Marine players, our AP is more than enough. So it's more the armies that have like really good invuns that is the problem for Marine armies, as opposed to you know, chainswords and having one more AP. I don't know if that change is really meaningful, impactful across the board. It's possible all melee is the strongest way to run Blood Angels, but it's still not possible to compete with other armies. Trying different things is fine, but it probably won't help to win tournaments. I mean, yeah, and that's possibly an invalid assumption, Podger, as well. Unless there's a fine line there where there is a way that you can still be very competitive, you can still have a lot of melee, but you have just enough. And that's what I've been advocating. I mean, that's how I play Blood Angels. I always advocate for some sort of fire support in your list. But guess what? I'm going to try. I'll try a list with fire support in it, and I'll try it in 2 weeks' time. And I'll come back on here and I'll tell you how I got on. And if I win a GT, because I really do think at some point I'm going to win one, I'll be very happy. You ever seen that quote, that bit from Brooklyn Nine-Nine when Captain Holt's like, vindication? That's what I'm looking to do. I would be interested to know, and I could probably check from like the Battle Report playlist on my channel. I would be interested to know when I started running the Whirlwind though, because I was running that very, very early. I was also running Centurions very, very early in 9th. So... But yeah, right now I'm at a loss. I don't know. I'm not going to run all melee Blood Angels list, because I'll run into an army that I don't think I can compete with, and I'll just get myself bummed out. I've done it before. It doesn't work for me. Hi, Ivan. It'll be interesting to see us try those units. Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a commission out for this Terrax Siege Drill at the moment, and I've also got a commission out for a Vindicator Laser Destroyer at the moment. So 2 of those units I've bought, I've commissioned them, they're getting painted for me right now. Mephiston I run a lot. The Storm Speeder I've been running a bit. I think it's decent. I don't know if it's the best thing ever, but I think it's decent. And then, forget what the 5th unit was now. It certainly wasn't the Gladiator Reaper, I'll tell you that. What was the 5th unit on that list? Oh, the Contemptor with the loadout. I've ran that as well. I don't dislike the Contemptor with the Chain Fist. I think it's kind of cool because it needs to be dealt with by the opponent. Just the problem with that is, like, if I feel like if I'm gonna run double Contemptor, I need to run Dante. And you know what? The list that I'm thinking about running for this next GT actually has me running Dante in it because I need the CP. So it would be funny actually if I win this GT, because I'll have Dante as my warlord, and I fucking hate Dante. You guys know that I don't like him. So it would almost be poetic if I go and win a GT with Dante as my warlord. Such a pity, because I loved Dante when I was you know, like younger, when I was reading the books. Makes a lot of sense. He's like our chapter master, but I just hate his rules. Which is funny because I guess some of you guys just hate Mephiston and his rules. Well, I just hate Dante. You're allowed to hate what you want. Anyone interested in chaos at the moment, says DT. No! You bloody heretic. Ivan says, I'm new, and I'm going to try Dante tomorrow for the first time. I shouldn't expect much from him then. I mean, he does a lot of things good, right? Like, he buffs people pretty well. I mean, the Chapter Master rerolls is nice. The CP he brings is nice. The free Epic Deed stratagem he brings is nice. I dislike the strength of his weapon and the fact that it's only 2 damage. And I really dislike the fact that he has no shrug or mortal wound protection. So I guess the trick with Dante is make sure you're hiding him or screening him really well. Because when he actually starts getting targeted and focusing down, he'll probably die in a single round of combat. So, he's not a YOLO character, and I guess maybe I like characters where I can just throw them out in YOLO a little bit, I guess. Everyone's got their own playstyle. But yeah, think of Dante as a support character, not a damage dealer. You'll probably get on fine with him. Jim says, I hate both of the rules, but I still run Dante. I do see value in Meth, I just don't run any Librarians right now. Well, that's fair enough. I like Librarians, I think they're fun. They're fun enough. I think some people don't like Librarians though because they introduce an element of randomness with their casting, which I think is totally fair. I mean, removing as much randomness from this game as possible helps. Tarek says, we're meant to get 32 likes, we've only got 31 likes. Yeah, if you're watching the stream tonight and you haven't hit that like button yet, please do that. I do appreciate it. Isn't Dante 90% of Blood Angel's lists? He is. He is. Is he the best choice though? I mean, he's... in some ways, he's picked similarly to Mephiston because the reason I play Mephiston is because he costs no CP. I think the reason people play Dante is because he gives CP and he can do stratagems for no CP. So like, I think the CP part of it puts a big weighting on it, right? Which is fine. I think if Dante had a 3 damage weapon for me, or if he had something like those what is the noble combatant thing that knights have, like less attacks, but he's a noble combatant, I would be all over him. Who has an 8-inch aura? Would you like Dante more if he had an 8-inch aura of 4 up, feel no pain for core? I mean, he'd be broken if he had an 8-inch aura of feel no pain for core. I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd like him more, sure, but I mean, he'd need to be like 400 points, I guess, right? Like, we generally, The only thing that gets a 4-up feel no pain is those damn new squat models, right? They get a 4-up feel no pain against 1 damage weapons because that seems balanced. I guess we'll see how the squats... I mean, there might be squats at this event I'm going to be honest, Highland Phoenix. Hadley says he got recommended Outriders. The person that recommended you Outriders knows nothing about competitive play. Maybe that's harsh. Yeah, Outriders are good for some other chapters. They're not good for Blood Angels. Maybe they do know something about competitive play, but yeah, don't take Outriders.
Jaegerbomb2 donated $5 via Super Chat. I bought the new Blood Angels helmets because I simped for Sanguinius. Open mouth smile. What rules should Primaris Dante have that the current one doesn't have?
Oh, I'm glad that someone else. So 3 people have bought those new Blood Angels helmets. Me, Jaegerbomb, and Wildlings. They're cool, man. You guys need to... I don't know why you guys don't like those new Blood Angels helmets. I think they're cool. What rules does Primaris Dante need? He doesn't need much. Like, look at Helbreck for the Black Templars. He has the option on his weapon, and all the other codexes have this now, and all the other like main characters have this, where he can choose, right? Like, and it would be... So Dante has 8 2 damage attacks, right? What I think he should have, and I think this would make Dante infinitely better, give him 5 attacks, but give him a 3 damage weapon, but give him the option to do those, like, is it the sweep attacks? Where he could make double the number of attacks, but they just do 1 damage. You know, so like, for example, so he could do 5 hits at 3 damage, or he could do 10 hits at 1 damage. Something like that. Like, Helbreck has a sweep with his sword. I appreciate the $5 for sure, Jaeger. Let me bring up Helbreck a minute, because maybe I'm saying his name wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Helbreck, right? High Marshal Helbreck, yes. So he has a sword that is strength times 2. So he's strength 8 minus 3 damage, or he can be strength 6 minus 3 1 damage, but he makes 2 hits, and he actually has 6 attacks. And I guess he gets Shock Assault as well, because he's a Black Templar and they would get Shock Assault. So essentially he gets 7 attacks, strength 8 minus 3 damage. So he has 1 less attack than Dante, but his weapon does 1 more damage. So where Dante, the most damage Dante can do is like 16, Helbreck can do 7 times 3, 21. So he can do 5 more damage, or he can do the sweep. And if he does the sweep, then he's doing 7 times 2, so he's doing 14 strength 6 minus 3 1 damage attacks. So like, give Dante something like that, right? And then I'm like, now you're talking. Now I'm interested. Now I'm saying, like, maybe Dante is an auto-include in every list, like, so he can just absolutely destroy 1 wound models, or he can tangle with the big stuff. And if you go by the lore, it's a bit like Mephiston as well. Dante kills a Swarm Lord by himself. And I think his jump pack was out of fuel at that point in Devastation of Baal. He just manned up to the Swarm Lord and killed it 1-on-1. So yeah, like, I don't play Dante enough to even know what his AP is, but I think it's -3. So I think, like, Helbreck is a great example of, like, what does Dante need? Well, that's it. He needs to be able to... He's the oldest living Space Marine. Surely he knows how to sweep or strike with his weapon, right? What's an Outrider? It's the bike. It's the bikes that nobody plays, or no Blood Angels players really play. They're not good. They don't get enough attacks. I suppose Armor of Contempt made them a little bit more survivable, but I just don't think they do enough damage to be warranted in basically any list. They have very, very little damage output. I tried to run them in a few games. I thought I could make them work, but in reality they just felt weak. Oh, you're kidding, because they're terrible. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sure. Hellbrecht's sweep is better than other sweeps. It's got -3 AP base. Yeah, I mean, -3 on the sweep attack as well, right? And it's still strength 6, which is still good. I mean, if you're sweeping, you're probably going after 1 wound models. Most 1 wound models don't have that high toughness. You're talking toughness 3 or toughness 4. So you're with those 14 sweep attacks, you're talking like wounding on 2s or 3s. Like, you're never wounding on bad numbers with the sweep attacks. And I suppose if you're coming up against a -1 damage enemy, like Death Guard, you could always just do the sweep attacks as well, because you wouldn't lose any damage output, right? Dante can't fight on death on top of his regular fighting Highland Phoenix. They changed that. You can only fight on death if you didn't already fight. I'm actually surprised you got that rule wrong, DTM, because you normally get none of the rules wrong. But yeah, they changed Honor of the Chapter, so you can only use Honor of the Chapter to fight on death if you haven't already fought. It seriously isn't like you to get a rule wrong. You're never joking against it, Scar. What else would Dante need? What else does Hellbrecht have? Does Hellbrecht have a Feel No Pain? I mean, he's got 8 wounds, which is 2 more wounds than Dante, right? Because Dante's just 6. He gives +1 strength and an aura around him. Like, it's not a warlord trait, it's just an aura of strength. Oh, he also has attendants? What do the attendants do? Each time the bearer fights, it makes 2 additional attacks with the weapons. Alright, so he actually gets 2 more 1 damage attacks on top of those 14 sweep attacks he gets. Yeah, I mean, and Hellbrecht's cheaper than Dante, he's 5 points cheaper. You didn't get it wrong. Why didn't you think... What are you on about? Yeah, I mean, I think at this point like, the Dante that we know, like the current model, the current iteration of Dante, is probably just going to never change. We just need them to give him a proper Primaris upgrade sheet. I mean, you could even argue, I suppose, that Mephiston should be able to swipe and sweep. If Mephiston could do a sweep attack, then all of a sudden I think Mephiston's an awesome character as well. Why are Outriders low in attacks? Is it just due to the limited unit size? I mean, it is and it isn't, James. Chainsword attacks don't do that much damage, right? So, like, I think you get like extra attacks when you charge, but you don't do that much damage, so you're likely to be left in combat, and then when you get left in combat, they all of a sudden fall away to barely any attacks. I think that they would... I think the only way I can see Outriders ever working as a unit for Blood Angels would be if you can have them in bigger squads of 3 and you can put some sort of special weapon with like more EP or more damage on the Sergeant. Like, otherwise they're only ever going to be a threat to like models that have really crappy saves, because the second they get stuck in combat for more than 1 turn, Chainswords suddenly become very weak, because against anything difficult you're probably only wounding on 5s and you're only on like 10 attacks. So hitting on 3s with 10 attacks is like 6 go through. So, you know, after the initial burst attack, and you do get a decent amount of attacks when you charge, but after that you're literally just doing like 1 or 2 damage per round of combat, and you're just going to have 3 Outriders stuck in combat, not killing anything. Oh, you think Dante can fight? You think he can fight twice per game? I mean, I guess maybe. Helbrecht can go in a transport, can he, or no? Suppressors, eliminators, and outriders need to be allowed in teams of 6. Yeah, I mean at least like 3 to 5. I don't really understand the need for the limits on those models. My experience of 3 eliminators is pretty poor, actually. I've been running them now for a little while with the las fusils, and like, it's such a small amount of shots. If you're just running one squad of eliminators, it's very easy to just whiff everything and feel like they're not very good. I guess the other thing to consider though is if you only have a 2 damage weapon, DTM, and you've got no flexibility on like doing swipes or sweeps, if you come up against a -1 damage enemy, then you're in a really horrible position, right? Where it's just like, you just do half your damage and there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas I guess arguably Helbrecht would never have that problem. I don't know, when I read the rules of Helbrecht, I feel jealous. I'm like, that's what... I mean, as a Space Marine combat chapter, I want flexibility in like what I can do with my attacks. I actually would love... One of the things I think that we would benefit the most from, because, I mean, you remember some of the stuff they took away from us. We used to get like 3d6 charges, we used to get to have a relic where it made Overwatch impossible. I actually think one of the thing that I would like the most maybe would be a way to like buff a melee unit's damage or something of that nature for CP, because like we don't really have any like if we're into a really tough matchup, we don't really have any CP that just says like, I guess you could armor Hammer of Wrath, but that's not really what I'm thinking. I'm thinking more like, you know, Admech had it on those Skutari infiltrators, was it? Where it was like, they had a stratagem, I think it was 2 CP, and it just meant like, if you charge with a Skutari this turn, you just get +2 attacks. And we already know that we can't like transhuman our firstborn Marines, right? So like having a way of just getting like some extra additional attacks as a stratagem, I think that would be really, really useful or really, really helpful. It would help us a lot. But yeah. Ivan says, I saw an earlier video from 2021 that said the Librarian Dreadnought should be picked over Mephiston, but I see a lot of lists with Mephiston. What changed? Mephiston went down in points, and also Mephiston doesn't really need CP spent on him. The Librarian Dreadnought probably needs some form of CP spent on him to be valuable, and he's like 45 points over Mephiston. He probably reliably does more damage, but it's just a case of like, CP are difficult to come by, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I generally quite like the Librarian Dreadnought. I mean, I just don't know if I'm willing to spend the CP to make him good, probably. It'd be difficult to know as well, because like in my brain, or like my first thought maybe it would be like, if I'm running a Librarian Dreadnought, I'm going to want Psychic Mastery so I can make my Psychic powers more reliable. So that means I'm upgrading him to the Psychic Master, so he's like 185 points, I think. But then I'm sort of thinking, but he's also really handy to have a Feel No Pain, because you can obviously take perils and stuff like that. And then the other thing is like, but then his weapon skill is really poor because his weapon skill is 3, so you kind of need something that buffs him, otherwise he's got a chance of like whiffing. Like sometimes you would whiff with Thunderhammers because they require, or because they have weapon skill 3. So it's like there's a lot of variables around the Librarian Dreadnought, I guess. that make people question why it's a good choice, and I guess as such, maybe like on paper, Mephiston is just cheap, and people like models that seem comparatively cheaper. That's probably what does it for me, honestly. GW need to hire you, John, as a consultant for the next Blood Angels rulebook. I don't think they would, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you. I tried to reach out to them and say like, hey, I get 10,000 subscribers. I'm happy to talk Blood Angels, but I haven't really heard anything back. I think my channel is a bit of a... maybe it's an enigma for them, right? Like, I imagine, you know, most channels with 10,000 subscribers are doing like painting stuff, or they're doing multiple factions. I don't know how many channels are just focusing on one. Hammer of Wrath shouldn't worry about toughness, it should just be a 4+. I couldn't agree more, Mike. If it was one of the new codexes, that's just what it would be. It would just be 4+. Because that's what Sisters and that's what Orcs and everybody else got. And in some ways that would help. Like, for us to become more... simple change like that would help Blood Angels quite a lot, actually. If we have the ability for... it might actually promote bigger than MSU units as well, because if you had 7 guys charging in, 8 guys charging in, you're just going to do that many more mortal wounds. Why would you not want a bigger squad? As it stands, Hammer of Wrath is pretty situational. In some armies it's brilliant, in others it's just complete rubbish. Outrider was released on Epic, was epic, everybody thought they would be so good, we all played them and found out not so. Yeah, when Outriders came out they were 40 points per model as well. And like, I never even thought they were good at 40 points per model. When they put them up in points, I was like, well, I definitely am going to be running those now, but I mean, I already wasn't running them, so... bit of a strange one, Outriders. I think they were good for White Scars. And I think that's possibly what led to a little bit of a nerf for them. Art of War has 32,000 subscribers. They're growing much faster than Mytho Rezio, right? Like, I'm actually interested when Art of War started now, but I think they're growing much faster than me. I mean, why would they not be? They've got like some of the top players worldwide on their teams and on their videos, right? I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm going to keep plugging away, and you know, if Blood Angels do get improvements, then you know for sure they cover them. And the second I feel that a full melee Blood Angels list can win an event, you know, like the second we get some more like ways to counter fight last nonsense and fight on death nonsense and whatever other stuff that's just countering us, the second that we have lists that I feel like, yeah, you know, these lists are strong and they can handle these sort of roadblocks, I guess you would call them, I'll run them. I mean, I've got enough models. I painted an absolute shitload of Vanguard veterans earlier this edition. I painted Assault Terminators and like regular Terminators. I painted Blade Guard veterans. You know, I painted a Judiciar. I did it all. I mean, Centurions. I even did Centurions. I did 6 Aggressors. So I mean, I've got everything. Maybe not quite everything. You know, I don't have 6 Centurions, but I don't really love that Centurion list anyway. So yeah, as soon as I think that we can win an event with all melee Blood Angels, I'm probably going to run an all melee Blood Angels list. In 8th edition, I didn't run... like, I didn't run a Whirlwind in 8th edition, I didn't run any sort of shooting in 8th edition at all. But remember, in 8th edition, all our characters could get, like, well, every unit could relocate in the same turn, and when you arrive from a relocate, you can get that 3d6 charge. So yeah, in 8th I just ran all melee. It was all Sangard, Vanguard Veterans, Death Company. Death Company just had 1 wound then though, so that's why I just ran bolters and chainswords on them, because I sort of like to keep them cheap. Because Carter coming in with a gifted membership. Carter, thank you so much. It's like every stream you've got the gifted membership. Did I finish answering Jaegerbomb's question? He asked about what Primaris Dante rules. Was that it? Was that all he answered? Oh, and he said he bought those new helmets. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen the new helmets, I think they're great looking. I think they're cool. I think they're unique. I think what we need is a box with Primaris Dante in it and Primaris Sanguinary Guard, and it needs to bring us up to 55% win rate, or much closer to a much closer win rate. I kind of wish that they would possibly rework Death from Above. I don't like the secondary at all. I don't like secondaries where we have to be forced to start things in reserve, maybe. Unless they bring back the relocate in the same turn. Like upon Wings of Fire, you know, when it used to be you could come off and get on. You could move around the board in the same turn. If they brought that back, maybe I could get on board with Death from Above. But as it stands, I really dislike Death from Above. Reziel says I don't run full melee because I'm not a good enough player to make it work properly. I mean, am I a good enough player, Reziel? I mean, I think I'm possibly a good enough player, but I think the problem is that then if you do go full melee, you really rely on terrain as well. And if you're playing at like smaller events, if you're playing at a giant event like a giant 500-man GT, then you can kind of know, hey, the terrain's going to be pretty uniform at this event because it's kind of giant. But if you're just playing at like a smaller tournament, be it like a local store or something, you never quite know if there's going to be enough terrain on the board. And if there's not enough terrain, that full melee list suddenly becomes much harder to play as well, doesn't it? If they change weapons for Primaris Sanguinary Guard, I'll lose my shit, says Carter. Well, I mean, you won't lose your shit, Carter. What will happen is all your Sanguinary Guard will lose their arms. Because you'll get them onto the table with some sort of like hobby knife and just have to take them all off, right? I don't know what they'll do for Primaris Sanguinary Guard. If we ever get them, that is. It'll be interesting to see if they try and phase out any more firstborn models in the next codex, because they definitely, I mean, they brought out like the Primaris Chaplain on the bike, right? And then Legends did, I don't know what the pronunciation was. They made, or I don't know what the word would be. They made the Primaris Chaplain on a bike, like the regular Chaplain on a bike became Legends, right? So you can't really use a Chaplain on a bike anymore. Like, he's just a Legends model. So, you know, next edition maybe it'd be the Captain on the bike. Could go Legends. But we would get like a Primaris Captain on a bike. More wounds, more toughness maybe. Could be cool. Primaris Chapter Master on a bike. Good evening, Foz. Hello. Death from Above isn't great, but your other 3 seconds are playable. It's a lot better than most factions. Yeah, I mean, I guess Fury of the Lost depends on your list though, right? Like, if you want to play Fury of the Lost, you have to really go Death Company. You have to go heavy onto Death Company, which in some ways counters some other secondaries, because Death Company obviously can't perform actions and they can't fall back, so doesn't synchronize super well with any sort of map or secondary that requires actions, and also doesn't sync super well with Oath of Moment either, because their leadership is so low. Corbolo and Tycho are probably going to be phased out. Can you even buy them? I thought they were both on like... I thought they were both like removed from the store like a little while ago. As well as the I think it was the Captain and Terminator armor got removed as well, right? I don't see Firstborn going away altogether, especially when Horus Heresy is a golden opportunity. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point. But I do think we'll see 1 or 2 Firstborn models maybe retired, similar to the last one. But, I mean, who knows? The Bike Chaplain made the Foot Chaplain obsolete. I mean, unless you're going to deep strike the Foot Chaplain, right? Would we be able to see 60 Sangre Guard in the list with Primaris Sangre Guard? I mean, you could see 60 Death Company in a list, I suppose, at the moment, right? If you went 30 Firstborn Death Company and 30 Primaris Death Company. I mean, I don't think you'd have the points to do 60. You'd probably need some impulsors, but I mean, I guess that's something you could do. Tycho won't be in the next codex. Maybe we get a Tycho and a Dreadnought, man. I've always thought it was a bit silly they keep including Tycho because he's been dead for forever. If they keep including, like I said in my codex review, like if they can keep including Tycho, then they may as well just include Sanguinius, because I mean, why have we got, what makes Tycho so special that means he gets to have a model when he's dead? Well, just give us a Sanguinius model. We don't care he's dead. Let's just play him. Crossing the Rubicon has become a lot more reliable, I guess is the word. Primaris Sombo Tycho. Yeah. I've been reading the new Astaroth book. I'm on like chapter 6 now. It did come out on Audible as well, so there's a link in the video description if anyone wants to pick up a copy of it on Audible, and you can get a free trial and you can get the book for free if you use the link in the description. As long as you haven't signed up for like a free trial in the last year. That's how that works. And then like I just listen to the books on my walk to work. So yeah, the new Astaroth book seems decent. In the first like 7 chapters, Astaroth is in it a surprisingly small amount. But I'm working my way through it. I've never done a book review on the channel. I thought I might do one for the Astaroth book. Just to give it some time in the limelight. And I do love Black Library audiobooks. Like, I genuinely love them, so... God, it feels like all these Death Company models have so much to do on them. I don't know why I do it to myself, why I give myself like 10 batch models to paint. Oh well. There's a new Flesh Tearers novel coming in. Is there? What's it called? Is it focusing on Seth and the... Because the Astaroth model is... the Astaroth book is focusing on like... chapters of Blood Angels that are being restored by Primaris in the wake of like the devastation of Val, right? And it's sort of exploring the fact that like some of these chapters are experiencing like the Red Thirst for the first time, even though they quote unquote shouldn't be, because the Primaris were supposed to have the flaw fixed. I guess those gene seeds are just a bit tainted, huh? You can take the gene seed out of a Space Marine, but you can't take the flaw out of it. Hadley, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I do appreciate you watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more Blood Angels content. You know, we're here every week, and we do all sorts of stuff on the channel, including live games and you know, various videos about how to get the best out of your Blood Angels. Didn't you say the Terminators had lots of details to paint, says Foz? Alright, yeah, Foz, just throw it at me. I know, I'm a slow fucking painter. Oh well, it keeps me busy, I guess, right? Maybe I need to join the YouTube trend and make a slap chop. Slap, is that the name of it? Slap chop? Everyone's doing slap chop videos. Slap chop Blood Angels. I don't know. I need to come up with a cool name for my boring, slow paint style, I guess. Yeah, Mike says that's why he's painting stuff for me. If you slap chop, I'm taking away my membership, says Mike. Alright, no slap chop, I hear you. I noticed some people were getting very upset with people talking about slap chop on Twitter. Sometimes Warhammer Twitter is like a fucking minefield. You have to really yeah, people can get very upset. Some people were getting very upset about people making those slap chop videos or whatever. I mean, I just watch videos if I enjoy the content creator, and I've said it before on the channel, I think Ninjon is a hilarious content creator. He's one of my favourites actually, and he does a video where his slap chop video is actually legitimately funny. It's only like a 10-minute watch. If you haven't seen it, I highly advise, if you want 10 minutes of just something to cheer up your day, then watch Ninjon's slap chop video. He's very good at taking the mick out of himself. It's very wholesome. Yeah, if anyone's not familiar, Mike in the chat here, I'll plug it while you're in the chat so you don't have to go find it, Mike. Look, I've got your very pretty sticker. You sent me 2 of these. Mike does a Blood Angels painting and other model painting, and he painted the Gladiator for me that I'm sure you're going to see on the channel pretty soon. And I just sent him a Terrax and Vindicator Laser Destroyer. So when you see them in the new year, because I think it will be the new year at this point, because it's pretty close to the end of the year, they'll have been painted by Mike in his studio. Only if you call a Slapchop child, you're gonna love my nuts. From the old Slapchop ads. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't even know what the old Slapchop ads are, but where to get my music from? Streambeats.com, Peter. It's all streambeats.com. You can download it. It's all royalty free. The guy that owns Streambeats is an awesome person, and he shares all this music for free. Dwayne says he works in blocks of 5 and it still takes forever. Yeah, I mean, I quite like working in blocks, but I always seem to manage to give myself giant blocks of models. Like, it's never 5. It's always 10, or it's always 15, or something stupid. I think last time I did Death Company, it was 16. So this time it's like 11. Which I guess is better than 16, but it's still a giant number, so... Oh well, it'll be lovely when they're finished to get a photo of them all, and then they can get varnished, and then it'll be happy days. DTM's got plans tomorrow. Enjoy Halloween. Yeah, enjoy your Halloween, DTM. Thank you so much for hanging out. Mike's also live on Twitch, so when I finish painting on here, which is going to be pretty soon actually, because I've still got this headache from my eye being crappy. If anyone wants to check out Mike on Twitch, you can just find him by searching Mike Chili. If you're still live when I stop, Mike, I'll raid you on Twitch, because I am streaming on Twitch at the moment. I have no idea. I get no viewers on Twitch. Okay, so I'll raid you with 0 viewers. That'll be pointless. Wrath of the Lost by Chris Forrester. Is that the name of the new Flesh Tearers book, Viegabom? Nathan said he recently painted Eliminators, and painting the camouflage is slow. Camouflage is fun though, right? Like, it's a challenge when you get, you know, when you feel like you've done the camouflage and it looks like actual camouflage. It's quite rewarding. I like doing new things that I've never done before. Yeah, that's a bit of a mess. Rizio's taking off his minute. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get a long lie tomorrow morning. My kids had me up at 7 today. I hate getting up at 7 on a Saturday. But I'm going to be doing the Armulus show as normal tomorrow night. And this week is going to be squats in the battle report. So I'm excited in that it's my first game against squats. I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think I'm going to beat the squats, or I'm going to get destroyed by the squats. I think there's probably going to be like no middle ground. But I am excited to play them at least. Like, it's good, like, because I've got a tournament like the week after. It's going to be really good to have at least played a game against them before the tournament in case I run into them. I think most people are playing like the Great Arthurian League, and that's the league that basically gives them like a ton of OBSEC and that special character. I forget the name of them, but he's like the custom Cal, the high Cal that they can pick. So yeah, I'm excited to give the squats, to get a game against the squats. Not entirely sure how it's going to go, but it'll be good to see them at the moment. Every time I complain about having to get up early, someone always manages to have a time that they get up that's even earlier than me and make me look like make it look like I'm spoiled. 7, man, is early on a Saturday, come on. Before I had kids, like on a Saturday, I don't think I ever got up before like 8:30. Good night, Carter. Thanks so much for the gifted sub again. I appreciate it. Yeah, on weekdays I get up pretty early, but like I try to make up for some of that lost sleep on the weekend, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, I guess. Alright, I think I am going to call it a night here in the next 5 minutes, guys. If there's any last Blood Angels questions, please hit me up. Otherwise, I'm likely going to be back tomorrow night for the Army List show, right? These old metal models, they definitely have parts of them where there's just very little detail, or there's very little definition, like in the chest pieces and stuff. And it's quite hard to know what to paint, because just like in here, this just all merges into one bit of metal, I guess. Which is fine. I like having some old metal models in my collection, but like, I genuinely think the plastic stuff is a million times better now. You send them down to watch the during when I was a kid, we used to go to the cinema to watch those old cartoons. They used to just have like a show every Saturday morning where they just showed like crappy old cartoons, and I think in the cinema they just charged a few bucks for it. Alright, I haven't looked at my baby monitor in like 10 minutes, and I think my kid is not in their bed, so I don't know where they are. So I better go find them. Hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. Please click the like button if you did. I'll catch you tomorrow night for the Army List show, guys. By the blood are we made strong. Alright. Peace.